I'm here and still working on this painting of the Bur Oak Tree, and it's taking so long. People are asking uh, when is this going to be finished, and uh, as an artist, that's kind of an annoying question because sometimes it just starts to get to a point where you're starting to understand it, and then it gets, you got to let it go because you need the money, or the time is up, or the project is done. Luckily, one of the people that isn't asking when this is going to be finished is the patron. I mean, this is for a large space in a house, and it's COVID, and they're not entertaining anybody. So, and another thing is, this is how it goes. And I'm going to stop this so you can see what I'm painting. So, another thing that starts to happen whenever you're working on a project, whenever I'm working on a project this large. So whenever I'm working on a project this large, it becomes like the most important project I'm ever gonna make. And that's how it is with every project. That's the latest project, is that I go all in. I've got some other projects that are on the back burners that need to be finished and started as well. This is a pretty important piece to me. It's about history and invasive species. So right now, you can see that I'm glazing that ultramarine blue on top of the river area and trying to get some different tones. And I'm trying to blend in this figure's head too, so that it's not so obvious, and we can make him fall back into the river. This is Tali. He's an Osage Indian that was painted by George Catlin in the 1838. And so he's a representative of who lived on this land and inhabited this land. I know it was probably a lot of the tribe of the Missouri was on this land too. But there were no depictions of a Missouri Indian that I could really find that would be authentic to the time that this Bur Oak Tree was born hundreds of years ago. So what I'm doing right now is I'm glazing and scumbling. Glazing is when you take a darker color and do thin glazes on top of it. And this just takes a lot of time, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really consider in terms of why a painting takes so long, is that you have these, especially oil painting, is because you have these layers and layers of paint on top of each other. And so you have these layers of paint. Let's look at it like this. And so if we're looking into the paint, then it's going through a couple of layers, and then it's actually reflecting light back at us. So it's almost like our skin. Like we could see that there's a blue vein going through there, but it's layers and layers and layers underneath. And so you could put these thin coats on top of each other. And that's a lot of, when you're looking at an Impressionist painting, like, I don't know, do I have my Impressionist book over here? Yeah, here it is. All right, so let's grab an Impressionist painting. Right now we're looking at the portraits of Hall's The Banquet of St. George in the Civil Guard. This is a project that I'm doing some research on for later. But let's pick up, let's see if we could find, let's see. All right, so that's a good example back here. Where was it? A lot of these paintings, like this one is probably painted alla prima with a dark background. We've got some reds coming out. All of this is dark, and then he's basically scumbling white on top of these dark areas and doing it pretty fast. But I believe that he probably had just a dark area in the background to begin with. What a lot of people don't recognize is that these paintings might have been done very quickly, but painters like, oh gosh, I can't find it. Yeah, well, painters like Monet and Manet, but mainly Monet. Let me go. Maybe he's in the back here. Yeah, there we go. The water lilies. So a lot of people think that these were painted very quickly, when actually there's layers and layers of thin oil paint on top of these paintings, and that's what makes the color really illuminate. So that's why I'm spending a lot of time with this piece here.